Okay. So this is a beginning kind of tutorial on Houdini, trying to get accustomed to the program. So basically how it works is like this. Um, just something really quick. All right, with our viewport, of course, you see how we can like move and grab these like bars, kind of move them back and forth to resize things. There's also like this little tab where it has two little arrows. Well, there's an arrow that goes this way and there's an arrow that goes this way. Now what happens is if I click one of these arrows, it kind of like collapses. So this arrow will move the, you probably can't see it on your screens, but if you have it, if your Houdini's open, you can see this one's pointing this way, this one's pointing the other way. And if you get it in the middle, it'll switch. Like it'll make it put this over here and that over there. Same thing with this over here. If you click it, it switches. Okay. I say that to say this over here, right? So this is kind of what you might be used to in Maya, like having an outliner kind of thing. But instead of having a real outliner, it's like all the objects go here. Um, Controls for navigation are the same. Alt left click rotates, alt middle mouse click pans, and alt right click zooms. Go left to right. Well, I guess you could do the up and down if you really want to. I like left and right. Okay, so we have our shapes up here. So if I click on box, if I just click on it and don't click anything else, just left click, I can kind of move around the box and put it where I want. But me personally, I don't like that. I like for everything to go in the center. So if you hold down control and click, everything lays in the center, right? So I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna do it one more time, right? So I'll control click a sphere and it's perfectly centered in our world, all right? Now, if I look over here, it says OBJ and then there's sphere right here. And if I click on this and then there's sphere. So there's OBJ, which is like our object. And these are like, just think about these like worlds, right? This is like object world, right? In our object world, we can have polygons, spheres, tubes, toruses, grids, um, uh, fonts, letters. So all our objects lie in the OBJ. So let's just say it's like object world, right? Now, what happens is when you make a shape, it comes inside of this container right here. And these, you can think about them kind of like I guess there's three ways you can think about it. You can think about it like Tupperware, right? These are Tupperware containers. And let's say you have like a grape inside or something. So this grape is inside of a container. But if I wanted to, this is just one grape inside of the container. And this container is called geometry, right? And if I click on control click a box, now there's another one. So there's a box and now there's a sphere, right? So if I click inside of this sphere container, which is really just a geometry container, it just labels it sphere. It has a sphere inside. So the sphere is really inside, right? Now, if I want to move the sphere, you can see like the controls, you can see the arrows. So we have our translate right here. And that's with this button right here. So it gives us translate. We can scale it and we can do all types of things with the sphere. Now, just to get you to understand this, oh, I think I accidentally did that. Let's control C, control V, and let's copy this. So I have two spheres, right? You can see both of these spheres are inside of here. Just let me move one of them. You can't see the other one, right? But it's there. If I click on this right here, I can see the other one. So this right here is called our display flag, and whatever it's highlighting, it sees. Now, if something else is selected, well, like not by its display flag, but just selected, like marquee box selected, we can have like a template of that object. So even though this is the one that we're seeing because the display flag's on it, this one we can operate on it. And we can operate and see it by clicking this. Now we can't see that one, but let's say we don't want to like necessarily we want to work on this one and see it, but still know where this one is. What we do is we hit this right here, which is a template flag, right? So I can see this object because it's highlighted, but this one's still here too, right? And one thing also to note, if I go outside, so there's two things, right? If I press I for inside or I double click, I go inside of this container, right? And if I press U for up, I go outside. So think about like a folder, uh, Tupperware box, it's a shoe box, um, like a bubble. So basically, whatever is inside of here, we'll see if this flag is on. But we have two of these in here, right? So let's say we want to see two instead of one or the other, right? Then what we can do is right click and type in merge, MERGE. Or, if it's come up like this, we can still select it here. And we'll put this down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little ball right here, which is an output. So there's an input and an output. And I'll take this one, put it here. And now I'll click on this, right? So now we're seeing both of these spheres at the same time. If I wanted to move one of them, all I would have to do is highlight it. Or I could click right here and still move. But if I want to see them both at the same time, I can click this right here, our display flag, on our merge, select this, and move it now. All right. And I could do whatever I wanted with this. Move it. Now let's press U to go up, or we can just click on OBJ, or we can click on this arrow. And with this right here, you can also just left click and hold and go to OBJ. And now we're here, right? Oh, no, wait. Now we're here. So now we're in the sphere and we see two spheres, right? And now I'm just like disabling this one. But if I have it on, then, we have both. Now you can see the yellow highlight on this because this is like highlighted. But if I do that to this, now this one's highlighted. Now if I click off of both of them, well, it still has the controls, but they all look kind of, the same. So I can double click on this again. I'll double click on this again. Now check this out. What if I wanted the third one? I can do a Control C, Control V, and get another one of these. Or I can do the quickest way, which is just selecting the node and then pressing Alt and left click and then just dragging. Now I have another sphere. Now, you know what? I'll just drag this right here, connect it to this merge, and I'll move it down. Or, just do something different with it. Now, if I click on this, if I want to go back to my object context, because right now I'm inside of the sphere, right? But if I want to go back, I can press U to go up. I can click right here, or or I can click, the back arrow, and it'll just, go backwards. So that's how you get out of that, right? So I can also call this sphere container, because that's basically what it is, a container, right? And so we can also do this. Check this out. If I click on this, we have a box right here. So, you can move the box, scale it, do all these things. So let's say I want to do something like this, just for whatever reason, right? So there goes my box, right? I made like a little platform thing. Let's say I want all of these to be in the same container for whatever reason. Easy, right? I can just select everything here, Control C, go out of here. And look, let me take off this display flag. And I'll click over here in this box area and I'll press Control V, right? Now those spheres are inside the box object, which really doesn't really mean box object. It just means geometry. See how it says geometry, geometry? And I can connect this to there. And it went on the last one, you know, if you want to be clean, I guess you can go like this, or, you know, it doesn't really matter so much. But just so you know how it works, since this one came in over there, if we want to make it look pretty, I guess we could do this. Or we can just hold down the Y key. Well, we can do it like two different ways. We can select these wires right here, press delete, and then we can select them all, and then just go like this. Like I said, the order doesn't matter, just letting you know how this works. And let's say we want to cut one, you press Y and left click, and just swipe across. We can cut. Anyway, so you see now that we're in the box, in this box object, we've merged all these, and now they're inside of here. All right. Now this right here, you can, yeah, just so you know, if you look over here, here's the object context. So we have this box object, and then we have our sphere, all right? Now we can turn on the flag to see the sphere. So look, we have this, we had moved some stuff, and now we have the one we just, copied. And so look what it has. It has a list of everything here. But I wouldn't get too comfortable with this over here, because when I first started, I kind of relied on this like it was like with Maya, but you shouldn't. It's better to rely on this over here. I'm just have this open to basically show you. But this is the object world, right? And this thing has a couple of other worlds, right? There's this world, chops, and chops stand for channel operators. Um, this is for our images when we render stuff. Uh, there's material operators. There's object. There's out, which will also be referred to as ROPs. And there's shops, which is shader operators. So there's all these things that say ops on the end. So it's like SHOP. So that means shader, and then it's operator. And this one, it just says out right now, but it's render operator. When we get to that, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. So that being said, let's now. Oh, and check this out. I clicked on that. Now I'm in the chops world. So let's go back to our object world, because this is the one we want to be in. All right. So right now I'm going to hide these, or I could delete them, but I'll just hide them, right? And I can put them right here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make that same wall that I made in Maya, but I'm going to make it, in Houdini. So just for the sake of saving space and to learn this the right way, I'm going to go over here, click on this arrow, this one that says collapse. Well, it doesn't say collapse, but collapses it in, just so I have more screen real estate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself my street and my wall and my sidewalk. So check this out. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to type in geometry, GEO, and geometry comes up, and I'm just going to press enter. All right. Now this is the same thing as this. It's just, I just manually made it. So I'm going to double click on this and I'm going to type in street underscore scene. Well, let's not do street. Or just do street geo. Street geometry. Let's just do that, right? So put it right here and I'll double click. Now I'm inside, all right? or I can press I. Doesn't matter, as long as you're inside. Now I'm going to make my wall first, right? So I'm gonna right click and I'm going to type in is it box? See, programs have like box, cube, you know. So I had to think about that. Oh yeah, box. So just so you know, right here, so this is X, Y, and Z. And you can scale in different ways. You can go in here, middle mouse button click, and drag this to the left, to the right to get your number. So it goes by increments of 1, 10, you know, 10, keep on going, uh, hundreds, all that stuff, right? So one thing to note that all the objects appear in the center in the centroid of the object, which is like the center point. And so the this is what I did earlier, Jada, in the other program, Cinema 4D. But since this is at 1, if I raise it up halfway, so at 0.5, it automatically sits on the floor. All right. Okay. Oh, and speaking of floor and views, if I click, hmm. So if I do space 2, it gives me a top view. Here it is right here, top. Space 3 gives me a front view. So because it's at the front, yeah, here's our like line. Space 4, right? Space 5 is UV. Space 1 is perspective. Okay. And we can also get, it right here. So set view and then you can see also that it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has all that right here. All right. So set view perspective. All right. So let's make this wall now since we're already on the ground. And I'll just, since I've already had it at 1. Oh, just so you know how this works, if I type in 2, so to make it 2, and I type in 1 right here, because 1 is half of 2, it puts it on the ground. And just to show you this real quick, also, if I right click on this and I say copy parameter, and then I go right here to the center part, and then I right click and I type and I do paste relative references, what it does is it makes this, oh, it didn't do it. It's supposed to make this the same number as that. It's not. I'll get into that later. I think I did that wrong. Anyway, so as long as this is half of that number, it's fine. So we'll go like this, go to the right, raise it up. And I'm not really concerned about how big it is. I just want it to look somewhat normal. All right, so let's say this is the wall that I want. All right. Oh, and one other thing, just to uh, give you an idea about the sense of scale, this is one thing I like to do. I'll right click and type in, I think it's male. So if I right click and I type in male, there's simple male right here. And it's this character that comes in. And if I want to move it, I can just go to master translate and like move him. And I'll sometimes do this just to know like how big my wall is, get a sense. So this is like super large, which is not what I want. Oh, and also you can do simple female too. Just if you care. Anyway, those are just, some characters that come with this program. Um, so now that I have that, I'm gonna go back into my street geometry. And you see how it goes those objects? That's because this is on right here. So there's show all objects, which makes everything look like it's, um, like everything's highlighted. And then we can go to hide other objects, which just only allows you to see this box that I made inside of the street geometry. But I want to ghost so I can see this wall. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and a little bit lower. And I could even put it behind them just to see. I just wanted to make more sense as far as scale. Okay. It's cool with me. Um, yeah, let's now make some curves. Oh, so we have our wall right here. I'm going to now yeah, make some sidewalks, that's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to make another box. I can right click, box. So I can do that to make another box. I can also do this. I can click on this, not shift, control, left click. So I just made myself another box. All right, so you see this is the old one, this is the new one I just made. And then let's say all of these right here, I don't want to go through and go one and then tab and then one, and I don't want to do that. I can also left click, I can click on this little gear and I can do to revert and restore to factory defaults. And it'll just make this into like a regular box again. All right, so, and that's what I just made right here, the default box. So just letting you know, I'll put this on to template it. And now let's make a sidewalk piece. So I'll do the same thing I did before. It's 1. I'll just take it to 0.5 just so it sits on the ground perfectly. I'll scale this down. And I'll move this. I can do like this, space bar. I did space bar, wait, 2 to get this top view. And I'll just put it right here. And yeah, I'll just place it right there, space bar 1. So that looks good to me. Now I can, you know what I want to do? I want to kind of bevel this. So first I got to do this. I'm going to select my box. Let me delete this one. So this one right here, I'll name this my wall, right? And this will be my curb. My sidewalk. So let's say I want to bevel this and not make it so hard. I'm going to click right here and go to polygon mesh. So this is like in Maya or Cinema 4D where we add divisions or segments. So we can do that. But right now what I want to do is I want to make it kind of have that bevel look. So I'm going to right click and type in bevel. And this poly bevel comes up. Now I'm going to connect this to this. And now click on the poly bevel. All right. Now I'm going to go to this right here and I'm just going to click and drag. Now you see what's happening? I'm clicking and I'm dragging and it's giving me this bevel. I can also middle mouse button click and drag this to get like the finer increments to not like go too far, you know? So I'm clicking this. But look, it's kind of like got a little like chisel look. Yours might be different because this is a little bit of an older version of Houdini, but it should work the same. But yours could look a little bit different. So if I go over here to chamfer, oh, and here's the divisions, right? You know, I always say 2 or more. This is that right there, that 2 or more. But right now it's got that hard kind of edge. But if I click right here, let's click through these, right? If I go to none, we see what that does. Solid, and let's move this. We see what that does. if we go to crease, we see what that does. Doesn't change the shape, really. Chamfer, we see what that does. Round, oh, we see what that does. And then we have profile, which gives us this ramp right here. Now, if I click this right here, I mean to click this one, and let me scroll down, or let me just scroll down like this. We have this. Now, if I move this right here, we can see it's kind of affecting the profile a little bit. If I move it here, it's mainly this end. Ah. Now, if you click on make too many points, you can just click on the point and click on this. But it kind of, it can just affect the way it looks. Anyway, let's just go to round and use this one. So I'll just make it like 3, just to make it nice and round. Okay. So now we have this rounded out sidewalk piece. Now check this out. The whole beauty of Houdini is this. If I click back here and I click back on this one, you see how we have these extra segments? Let's say I want to take away one of these segments. Like, let's do it in Y, right? So just have one here, and I click back on here, that one segment's gone. So let me just highlight this. And if I make it more segments, see how I just like increased them? It like updates basically, right? So that's a beautiful thing. All right, so since we have this one right here, let's copy it over. So we can do this a few different ways. I can select this, and then I can do Alt left click and make another one. And then I can just, take this and drag it over. Or let me template this one. So now I have 2. I could do that, and that's perfectly fine. Another thing we can do, and I'm gonna like, oh yeah, check this out. If I don't want to see these at all, period, I can just click on this, and yeah, they're like disabled basically. So it's enabled, disabled. So let me just click back on this, and now make this my template, and I'll do this. Copy and transform. I just typed in tab and copy, and now this is a copy, and these are called SOPs, right? Or nodes. So surface operator, and that's why it's called the SOP. So this is in the x-axis. So what I can do is just go right here. It says translate X, Y, and Z. So if I go to this and I move this, see what it's doing? It's moving and it's making 2 copies, right? So let me put it right here. And if I go to this right here, I can get real fine numbers, right? So let's get it in there like this. Okay, cool. So it's already on 2. So let's just duplicate this on over. Right? So just moving that, I got this. Now, if I want to change this right here, it'll change all of these because I copied it, right? Okay. And let's just say I want to do, a little extra detail. We can do this. We can move these edges and points just like we do in any other program. One thing I got to show you before we do that is, let's go up here to main and we'll go to let's go to modeling. And if I hold down C, let's go to poly modeling. C, I get all the tools that I had before. So check this out. I'm gonna select this, and here's my selection tool. So I can select the points, edges, and faces, right? But they're called primitives in this program. So if I select this arrow right here, and if I press 2 gives me points, 3 gives me edges, and 4 gives me faces. Or I can click right here. Points is 2, edges is 3, primitives or faces is 4. So let me just press 2, and I'll just select all of these right here, let's say, and I'll press, for this program, T is move, R is rotate, E is scale. So I'll just press T, and I can like raise them up a little bit or something. Press 2 again, select these, press T, can raise them. So I can go ahead and do this for like a few, 2 different sections. T, raise it. 2. And this is just me trying to add like, a little bit of realism, a little bit something different to mine. And then also I could press like 3 or 4, and then, just take a face and let's take a few faces. So 4, and I'll just press T and raise it up, just something different. Anyway, so let's say you do something like that. And yeah, we'll say sidewalk is done. Now, just for organization's sake, I'm gonna type in right click, and I'm gonna type in something called null, N-U-L-L, enter. And I'm just gonna say out, get in the habit of doing this, out underscore out sidewalk geo, right? Now here's our wall, right? Now before I do anything to this wall, I want to, let's say I want to give it a little bit of a bevel too. So I'll go up here, take it to polygon mesh. So now it's like this. I'll right click bevel, click this here, and select this right here, and I'll go to round, do the same thing. So it's nice and round. Now if I go back here, yeah, I like it. I don't like all these faces right here though. So what do? I'll just go back here and, ooh, take those away and update. See, nice and clean. All right, so I'll do the same thing I did before. So I have this selected. I'll press 2, and I'll select a bunch of these. Oh, and if you want to see through something, just press W. So W is wireframe, press W again, bring it back. So press W, and I'll just press T, and I'll just move this a little bit. 2, select, T, and move it a little bit. 2, select, T, and push it back a little bit. So it's just got, you know, some very subtle imperfections in it. Okay. So this is my wall now, and I'm gonna click on this, left click, drag over here. And so I just copy that out, wall, G, wall geo. Okay. So I've got two of these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select both of them and click on this so I see a template. Now I'm gonna create, now I can keep this or I could trash it. I'll just trash it, a ground. So I'm gonna type left click, grid. All right. So I have myself a grid here. I'll click on this and I'll click on this right here, a little transform tool, and I'll place it where I want it to go. So let's say I want it to go right here. Perfect. I'll scale this down, scale this down. I'll push this right here. Cool. So I got my grid now, and I'll take it to a mesh. And this time I'll give it a bunch of divisions. It's like this many. And I'm gonna right click, mountain. Type in something called a mountain node or SOP. Put it in. Gives me like a little bumpy kind of thing going on. And I can turn that down by messing with the height and the element size. And I'll show you how I'm doing that a little bit later.